back to the third and final lecture on 3 ingredients for brain health. Today I'll just be discussing the third ingredient along with neuroplasticity and the brain's hierarchy. Lastly, as always, I will leave you with 5 take-home tips to put into practice for a highly functioning brain. As a reminder, I am Kelly Prill, a naturopathic physician and a functional neurologist, and I own Elemental Wellness here in Silverton. And I love supporting people in the dementia prevention, as well as brain injury and neurological conditions. My passion is making brain health accessible to everyone and simplifying neuroscience into practical daily habits. I hope to empower positive change by teaching you how it's all connected and how to listen to the messages your brain and body are telling you. The third, yet incredibly essential ingredient for optimal brain health is activation. You are a receptor-based being, meaning you use all of your senses to navigate internal and external environments to help you function, grow, and heal. These senses provide information, conscious and unconscious, for everyday activity. The brain develops from the bottom up, and as you age, it functions from the top down. It is a very intricate system with many networks and patterns. This is the basis of activation. Use it or lose it, as the saying goes, is actually very accurate. This includes mental, physical, and social stimulation. I love this picture because dancing is one of the best activities for brain health. It involves movement, it involves interaction with someone else, and you have to remember what steps are next, and there's a little bit of cognition in dancing. So it really activates the entire brain. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to change, learn, and grow. And understanding neuroplasticity is key to activation. Neuroplasticity is the reorganization of neural pathways based on input. It responds just like muscles do with physical activity. Neurons or brain cells grow with use and shrivel up with inactivity. If you work out, your muscles get stronger and more robust, and if you don't work out, they weaken and they shrink. Your brain cells work very similarly. Brain neurons connect together much like a tree with roots, a trunk, branches, and flowers. Activity causes the branches to grow and bloom, producing new flowers, enhancing brain function and plasticity. The more you challenge your brain, the more activation and neuroplasticity occurs. Just like in exercise, your body becomes fit and adapts with increased activity. Same with the brain. Doing the same activities daily increases neuron connectivity for those actions. As you begin and practice the new activity, you build the neuron highway or network. This requires healthy neurons, which require proper fuel and nutrition. As you practice the activity, you work through roadblocks and congestion, hence the challenging or frustrating part of learning. With repetition, the activity becomes easier and smoother. Each repetition strengthens the pathway. But once the highway is laid down, no new growth occurs unless you challenge your brain in a new way. While neuroplasticity is the ability for the brain to change, and this is amazing, it is important to note that this change can be negative or positive. So how you choose to think and feel along with your environment creates either negative pathways or positive pathways. The Gottmans have a very famous research study that demonstrates that it takes 5 positive thoughts to overcome 1 negative thought or judgment. Wow. This makes sense because the brain's main job is to survive. By being critical, alert, and aware of danger, this allows the brain to adapt and survive. It is negatively biased so that you can survive. But to fully thrive and enjoy life, this needs to be balanced by joy, optimism, and love. So it's time to check in. Are you running from real tigers or paper tigers? That's a very real question over the last year. There have been some real tigers like ice storms, wildfires, and a pandemic. But there's a lot of paper tigers in our life as well, like, traffic jams and arguments. And there's lots of paper tigers that we run from, but it's important to really address this and decide, wow, this is just a paper tiger. I'm going to focus on the positive. Negativity inhibits productivity, creativity, and motivation. Optimism, on the other hand, increases lifespan, decreases stress, and provides coping skills, and even prevents the common cold. How you choose to think, feel, and act determines how the brain changes, negative or positive. In order for new growth of neurons to grow, the brain must be properly nourished. Think of neuroplasticity as highways. The negative highway already has 5 lanes with high traffic. The new highway is a walking path, or maybe it's a dirt road, but it needs to be built for more efficient traffic. Your brain has to provide the materials and labor in order to build the highway. Then it has to get the cars to drive down it. All while the negative highway is saying it's already done over here, it's super easy, just stay over here. This is why it takes 5 positives to overcome 1 negative. So is your brain nourished? Does it have the materials, the builders, the drivers, and the brain power needed to create an efficient and supportive road? Activation and neuroplasticity require fuel and nutrition, which is why they come first in this recipe. Positivity is not about ignoring or covering up negativity. It is changing perspective and learning to see opportunity and growth. Judgment, criticism, and fear have their place, but when they are dominant emotions, it's time to start shifting the point of view for your brain health. Finding joy often changes the brain for the better while also improving cognitive function. Negativity happens, but don't get stuck in the pattern of it. Take control of your thoughts and beliefs to stay fluid and moving. When you are stuck in a negative construct, think about something else, literally anything else that brings you joy. Recall happy memories, think about your favorite people, or just find joy in the miracle of the sun rising and setting every day. In the end, only you choose what you think about. Tip the scale to be more positive than negative. Activation includes movement. You were born to move. Physical exercise activates neuroplasticity by encouraging all of the neurons associated with movement, coordination, and balance. Exercise bathes your brain in nutrition and growth factors, which are necessary for new growth and creating positive neuroplasticity. Exercise allows your brain to repair and regenerate. In turn, moods improve, learning becomes easier, memory retention is enhanced, and you experience clarity. Movement allows new circuits to grow and old circuits to rewire themselves. Yoga, walking, team sports, even CrossFit, each have their own pros and cons. Honestly, feel what makes you feel great. Depending on your activity level and specific health concerns, the type of exercise you partake in will vary. It's important to learn what the best activity is for the brain and body. However, just getting outside and breathing in the fresh air is always invigorating and good for the brain. Make movement a priority in your life. Your brain's #1 job is to resist gravity. Sitting is the opposite of brain activation. The new headlines in the last few years have coined sitting as the new smoking. This is because you are deactivating your brain and robbing it of nutrients. Sitting turns the brain off, and unfortunately not in the Zen sort of way. It reduces circulation and all of your feel-good hormones. Depression is correlated with lack of movement, plus sitting causes fat storage, making movement harder and weight gain more likely. Watching the news all day is one of the worst habits for a healthy brain. Most news incites the sympathetic response or run from the tiger response and builds negative neuroplasticity. What's worse is that movement is what helps the brain reset into feeling safe. So if the news is just on all day as a form of entertainment and you're sitting there watching it, that lack of movement and negative input is really truly detrimental to brain health and overall health. So try to keep news intake to short bouts. While many people are sitting for most of the day, whether it's via work, watching TV, just a sedentary lifestyle, it's critical to take regular breaks, get a standing desk, or just to walk or move on your breaks while you work so that you can remain productive and focused. If you spend hours watching TV, one, consider reducing this, and or try walking on a treadmill or doing a chair workout while you are being entertained. Mental activation. Mental activity is an effective strategy for delaying cognitive decline. Cognition refers to thinking, and cognitive decline is the progressive decline in normal thinking patterns and speed. It is an aging process, but when it speeds up, this is associated with dementia. Mental stimulation provides a protective and persistent input to counteract cognitive decline. Brain training or mental exercise floods the brain with nutrition and necessary growth factors, just like physical activity does for the body. The beauty of brain training is that you also learn a new skill and can choose anything that excites you. Cognitive therapy is another way to stimulate mental activity and is based on how you perceive experiences and influences your behaviors and emotions. Meditation is another great way, or mindfulness, to stimulate the brain to suppress information overload, leading to better attention long term. Brain training is limitless. Just get out there and challenge yourself. In the neurology world, we say whatever you're bad at is what you need to challenge, but any mental activity improves brain function. When was the last time you visualized an outcome in your life, or just sat and looked out the window and daydreamed? Traveling is great for brain training, and hopefully this will be available again soon. You can play board games with the family. If word recall is hard, try something like Scrabble or Scattergories. There are many online apps like Luminosity, Brain HQ that help discover and strengthen weaker areas of the brain. All of these are great habits and hobbies to add to your life. However, getting enough sleep and taking time to relax is needed in order to integrate information. And now more than ever with the real tigers that we're running from. Sleep provides regeneration and repair. While you sleep, your body rests and your brain works double time to get rid of all that excess and unnecessary information, toxins, and it reinforces the day's activities. If sleep is an issue for you, get help to address this. Know that blood sugar, high stress, and sleep apnea are very common causes, but sleep is restorative and necessary for brain health. If sleep is an issue, add mindfulness and meditation to your daily routine to give the brain a proper break that sleep would normally give it. Social interaction. Building a community is beneficial to everyone. It supports local business, creates new relationships, and provides a support system. More so, it reduces illness, pain, and depression. Loneliness is really bad for the brain, and it increases stress responses. And it causes the brain to be on hyper alert in future social settings. Connecting with others has a powerful impact on our emotional well-being and overall health. Engaging relationships reduces pain and improves immune function. Social connectedness provides quick recovery and a sense of fulfillment. Socializing also provides new ideas and perspectives and opens up new opportunities, all of which stimulate brain activity. Research shows that it is the quality of relationships that matter more than the quantity of friends. One good friend produces vitality and staves off disease. Get out there and meet someone new, or rekindle an old relationship or friendship. How can you build and continue to connect with your community? It may make all the difference in someone's life. While the pandemic has created major restrictions to social connection, challenge yourself to connect in new ways. Online platforms are not the same as a hug, but they do still provide connection. Remember that you are what you think, and if everyone around you is supportive and positive, this will only support positivity and growth mindset. If negativity surrounds you, start thinking of ways to realign with more supportive people and habits. What words and sayings do you use regularly? Change your language to be uplifting and solution-oriented versus negative and problem-focused. It is critical to your brain health and well-being. You are what you think. The brain thrives on feeling good. Make finding happiness and gratitude a daily habit, and ask for support and help if needed. So I want to kind of explain the brain's hierarchy here. And this is where a lot of the functional neurology that I practice focuses. So let's start at the bottom of the pyramid. This is the area of the brain that gets the most attention and is all about, where am I in space? It's the brain's number one job. If you don't know where you are in space, the rest of the brain does not work well, and the rest of the pyramid really doesn't matter to the brain. In order to know where you are in space, the brain uses the sensory systems like visual input, inner ear or vestibular input, and proprioception, which includes touch, vibration, and knowing where your joints are in space. If any of these are not working optimally, then the brain needs more fuel and nutrition to constantly correct for this. The brain is amazing, and you often do not even know that this recorrection is happening. But what you will notice is minor symptoms begin to arise. Sometimes they're really small and generalized, and sometimes they're blatant and specific clues. Double vision, headaches after riding in a car, anxiety, dizziness walking upstairs, dizziness in general. These are just a few examples of the brain saying, whoa, something's not right. I don't know where I am in space, and we have got to figure this out. Using up more fuel and nutrition as it does this. So the next level, at the just above the bottom, the first bottom of the pyramid, is the ability to resist gravity. So once you know where you are in space, the brain asks, how do I stand up in space? As a baby, we start out in this fetal position, and we slowly learn how to hold our head up, how to sit up, then how to crawl, how to walk. And it uses this sensory and motor development to do this. It takes up a lot of brain space. So the ability to stand up against gravity is a really big deal. And you'll even see this in Parkinson's and other forms of dementia. People are starting to bend forward again. They're losing this ability to resist gravity. It's a very important piece of the brain. Sitting at desks, driving, sedentary lifestyles do not strengthen this area of the brain either, which leads to more misinformation of where you are in space whenever you're standing up or trying to balance. Again, the brain will always find a way to do this as efficiently as it can, but this can be seen as bad posture, poor balance, pain, or more severe issues. So the next layer of the pyramid is the ability to move smoothly. First, you learn how to know where you are in space. Do I know where I'm in space? Okay, so now that I know where I'm in space, can I stand up? Now that I can stand up, let's move. Can I move smoothly? There's a significant amount of brain power making sure that you don't bump into objects, that when you reach for that glass of water, you don't really knock it over, and to prevent, this tremor shaking of the body. And lastly, the top of the pyramid represents executive function. This is the human part of the brain where learning, memory, and behavior reside. This is the number one reason why people come into my office. However, unless there is a very clear neurodegenerative process happening at a pretty fast pace, these symptoms are usually related because the bottom of the pyramid is not working. Somewhere in there isn't quite right. So the brain uses up extra resources and prioritizes the pyramid from the bottom up in order to function. So it's important for you to know and your brain to know where you are in space more than it is to remember where you left your keys, although you may not think so. Activation is the third ingredient in the recipe for optimal brain health. Stimulating your brain via new hobbies, creating ideas, optimism, art, movement, all create a healthy brain and prevent cognitive decline. As you begin to incorporate these new habits, work with your provider to reduce any roadblocks. If you suffer from depression, pain, and chronic fatigue, find the root cause, as this may inhibit motivation, nutrition, and progress. If you struggle with sleep, get it sorted out. It is vital for integration and activation. And lastly, work with your doctor to figure out what exercise is right for you. Start creating your village of healthcare practitioners. It takes a village. While there are many experts in many fields, only you are the expert of your health. Be your own advocate and create your own village that is supportive to you and your brain health. And lastly, here are my 5 tips to take home to improve and strengthen brain health, and try to challenge yourself with these over the next week or even month. Number 1, I'm going to keep it simple. Just move. Whatever you choose, just get out and move. If you are starting from a sedentary lifestyle, challenge yourself to walk around the block every day. If you have trouble moving, start somewhere. Do chair aerobics, walk in the house, do some arm workouts, park far away. If you are active, try something new, switch up your routine. And everybody should dance a little bit more. Even better, find a buddy to do this with. It adds in the social interaction as well as accountability. While social distancing is still highly important, text or call each other. There's other ways to feed social connection. Number 2, go try something new. You're never too old, and in fact, it is more important as you age. Challenge yourself with a new hobby. What have you been talking about that you want to do lately? Learn Spanish, play guitar, create art, do an online class, play games. Really, what do you want to learn? Whatever it is, just do it. Take that first step and initiate that challenge. Be patient with yourself as you begin. Frustration is a good thing. It means you're creating those new highways and improving cognition. Once you learn the new skill, make sure that you practice it often so that you really build plasticity in the brain. New habits are hard, but that's the point. Keep a positive attitude and enjoy the process. Slowly add to your passions and skill set while boosting your brain. This one's big right now, especially with all the real tigers we've been running from. Number 3, unplug and reset. Do a tech detox. Shut off the external noise and let your brain just be. Let it change its perspective. Let it just turn off. Notice how the thought of this makes you feel. Does it make you cringe? Technology is addictive and it changes the brain. Sometimes for the better, but most of the times it is not good for us. Take a break and tune in to your relationship with technology. Is it healthy and helpful? Is it a great distraction and escape? None of these are bad, but awareness about this is important. In the tech era, with new ways to connect daily, make sure you are clear on the impact it is having on your mental and physical health. Whether you make new boundaries around it or take a full-on break, I always say start with 3 days. That's a good number to start with. But nonetheless, choose to limit and address how you use technology and how often you use technology for your brain health. Try calling an old friend, going for a walk, starting that new hobby with all this newfound time. Number 4, get involved. Increase your social activity. I know this is hard right now for many, but get creative. COVID is not going to rapidly disappear, as we've learned, but social connection has never been more important. On that note, as socializing restrictions lift and more socializing is allowed, check in with yourself on what feels right. Is the activity you choose supporting you? Is it supporting others? Does it give back? Is it fulfilling? Sometimes too much social activity is draining on the brain, and we get into busy mode, and busy mode is distraction for the brain. COVID provided a break from all of this, so use it as an opportunity to refine what you choose to let back into your life. For now, find a way to spend quality time with loved ones. Luckily, technology is advanced, and there are many ways to do this. This is why technology balance is really important and needed. Call a friend or family member weekly just to say hi. The age-old habit of picking up the phone and chatting can actually be very nourishing. Volunteer and meet like-minded people in your community, safely, of course. What hobbies do you enjoy, and seek this out in a group activity? For example, if you like reading books, host a virtual book club. If you love to cook, learn a new dish and share it with someone who needs it. Reach out, be vulnerable, and strengthen your community. Number 5, be happy. In the end, only you decide what you believe and think about daily, how you respond, and how you feel your time. Creative, supportive thought patterns, language, and beliefs are very important. Check in. Are your beliefs limiting your ability to change and grow? Are they keeping you in the comfort zone of inaction and indecision? Remember, the brain is negatively biased, but this survival mechanism can limit creativity and growth by allowing fear and excuses to prevent change. Change is inevitable, so be proactive and choose to embrace the discomfort and decide how you want to embrace that. Find joy in whatever comes your way. Practice making yourself say the 5 positives for every negative or judgmental thought. This is much harder than it sounds. This practice alone will help you change your inner self-talk and create a positive environment. Be aware of your internal dialogue and negative self-talk. As you begin to change your language, your environment and mood will also change. Be gentle with yourself, and if needed, get help with a counselor or another supportive practitioner. Prevention of brain disease starts now while you still have control. Utilize these 3 vital ingredients for your brain: fuel, nutrition, and activation. This recipe provides long-term health, clarity, and vitality. I urge you to find out if you are getting enough of these 3 ingredients for your well-being. What messages are your symptoms trying to tell you? If you are struggling with brain fog, fatigue, or insomnia, please do not overlook these symptoms. They are your brain's way of telling you something is off and wrong. With dementia and chronic disease on the rise, we need to do things very differently. Prevention is the best way to stave off symptoms. Brain health is everyday health. Fancy medicine leads us to believe otherwise, but the more balanced your diet and lifestyle, the more balanced your brain is. Getting enough fuel, nutrition, and activation daily allows you to function at your highest level, prevent disease, and live your life to the fullest. If you have questions or want to learn more, please check out my website, drprill.com. There's an online course called the 30-Day Brain Refresh that takes these concepts and puts them into more bite-sized pieces, along with worksheets, guidelines, journal prompts to help you refresh and rebuild your brain. If you're in Silverton or live in Oregon, feel free to book a free 15-minute consult and find out how I can help you and your brain live life with ease and grace. Lastly, I just want to say thank you all for listening and taking the time to put your health first. I am deeply grateful for that. Thank you all for hosting me, and I look forward to connecting in the future.